I was chatting to a friend of mine a few days ago about his house buying journey to see how he's getting on. And he's a single buyer and he's been saving for a few years and he's been able to put together a pretty nice deposit. But even with that deposit and with the mortgage you'd be able to get, which is four times his salary, the houses in his area where he's from are just outside his reach. So he's based in Templeogue, South Dublin. It's where his family's from. It's where he grew up and he had ideally wanted to stick around there. But he's in a pretty good position at the moment where he's able to work from home and he only has to travel into the city a few times a week. And so he's been broadening his horizons a bit and looking at the commuter towns close to Dublin. And he pointed out Celbridge to me and he said there's a few properties going for under 300,000 that could be suitable for him. So he's on his own. It's just him. And so he doesn't need a huge property. So he asked me to do a bit of digging and see what they were like. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to run a few home hunter reports for him and use it for a bit of content. So I'm going to talk through the home hunter report for one of the properties he was interested in and just show you what it can highlight to you, especially if you're moving to a new area like he is. So the property we're going to look at is this one here, 8 Springfield Drive, Celbridge, Kildare, which is currently listed for sale for 280,000. Now that's the asking price. I don't know what the current bidding is, but even if that goes over slightly, it's still around the 300,000 mark, which is a good bit cheaper than a similar property in the area he's from. I read through the estate agent description. Well, I did before. Yep, there we go. I'd read through the estate agent description, and there's a good bit of information here, but we want to find out more info. So we're going to go across the home hunter report, put in the error code here and hit get report. We run a quick check to see if we can get enough information to actually generate a report, and we can. And we're just going to put in our name, email address, confirm the error code and hit proceed to checkout. And once you pay, usually within 3 to 5 minutes, you get this home hunter report emailed to you. So this is one I've done earlier, just so I don't have to make you wait for 3 to 5 minutes. So the report itself is this high quality PDF that you can print if you want, but it's viewable on your desktop or on a mobile. You can zoom in and out as well. And we're just going to have a run through the report and see everything that it's able to tell us and see if it helps him make a decision about moving to Celbridge or not. And on this property as well to see if it's suitable for him. So the first thing we do is we check to see what information the estate agent has put online, and we pull in all that information. So things like the property size, number of bedrooms and so on. And there's some other information here, which we'll go through in the report in a while. We pull in any pictures and floor plans, because if you're looking at a number of properties, they can kind of become a bit blurry sometimes. And so we pull in that information just to refresh your brain about what property this actually is. Then we're going to go into the local property tax. So if it goes for the asking price, the local property tax for this one would be €315. I'm not sure what Kildare County Council, if they give an increase or a decrease of up to 15%. I'd need to check that one out. The freehold status of the property is freehold, so that just means there's less chance of any complications going on with the sale there. For planning information, there's not much going on in the estate. There's a few kind of properties nearby that have had planning permission put in. You can go and look at them, but none of them seem to directly impact this house, and there's no big developments nearby either that have got anything. This green dot here is for this Celbridge Manor Hotel. So that's green dot means in the last, from 2010 onwards, there's been a planning application here. So you may want to go and look to see what's going on there. If it's a hotel, I presume there's some kind of extension or something going on, or maybe they're adding a new facility, or it could be something simple like they're adding a new entrance on to Main Road. But you can go and look at the planning application on myplan.ie and see what that was about. So then we're going to look at BER information. So the estate agent has said this was a C2. And remember, when you're selling a property, you have to provide a BER report. So this one's shown as a C2. And for a property this size, your annual fuel costs are going to be about $1,300. Now, these numbers were last updated by SEAI in August of 2022. They're probably gone up about 15-20% since then. So you're probably looking at about $1,600 roughly for your annual energy bills for this property. So less than $150 a month. That's not too bad. He's living on his own. He's not going to be using a lot of electricity, or, he can even have the heating off in some of the rooms. So that's pretty reasonable for a small property like that. The satellite map, you can see what's going on around it. Plenty of green space around the property. No big factories or anything nearby that might catch you off guard. With early morning deliveries and so on, causing some noise. It doesn't appear to be on any floodplains, or there isn't any there hasn't been any flood events nearby that have been recorded on flood info. So that's all good news. It means you won't have any troubles with getting insurance there. The radon risk is about 1 in 20 homes, which is the lowest risk. Now, we still always recommend getting a radon test done after you move in. It's only about €40. I've got another video on that coming along. Mobile phone coverage is a bit mixed here. You have some networks, so the Vodafone network has really good coverage, really solid coverage. The rest appears to be a bit patchy, so you might need to be a bit picky and choosy there if his mobile phone is going to be important to him. But this is the one I know he really cares about, is the broadband speed. So he's going to be able to get up to a gigabyte broadband speed, no problem. And yeah, pretty much all the big networks he can, or big ISPs, he can get a package with for this property, which is good. TV, broadband, yeah, all the big providers. For TV providers, all the big ones are there. And transport because he can work from home, but he wants to, or he needs to be able to travel into the city a couple of times a month. And I don't think he wants to drive. He does have a car, but I don't think he wants to drive. So the Hazelhatch train station is just under 2.5 kilometers away. That gets you into Houston from Hazelhatch, I think, in about 20 or 25 minutes. It's pretty quick from what I remember. So that's probably, if you walk that's probably a 20, 25 minute walk. And then the same again on the train, and you're in Houston. And from there you can get the Lewis in, or there's a few buses or whatever, or even a Dublin bike if the weather is nice. So plenty of options to get in there. And then there's lots of bus stops and stations around. And then the Leaksop train station is only 5 kilometers away as well. Dublin Airport, sure, it's not a big deal for him. He's in Dublin. It's just outside Dublin, I should say. So it's going to be quick enough to get to Dublin Airport. Schools information. He's no kids at the moment, but you never know. He might fall in love this Valentine's Day and end up with a little family. So there's lots of schools. Yeah, loads of primary schools just in and around 1 kilometer away. Secondary schools. There's a girls' school. Looks like it's right at the entrance to the estate there, and then yeah, all within a few kilometers. There's a few other secondary schools as well. Local eateries. I think it's been a few years since I was in Celbridge, but I think there's a good few bars and restaurants and everything there, and yeah, lots of takeaways. Geez, these all have good reviews on Google. Clifford Lines is pretty close. I was at a wedding there a few years ago. Really nice place. Parks. Oh, you're gonna have lots of parks close by. Walking trails, the whole lot. Steam Museum. I've never heard of that before. That could be interesting. The Gatehouse, Temple Mill House, lots of amenities close by. The pubs. Now I have drank in a few of these. I have drank in O'Connor's, which is a nice bar. The Village Inn I've drank in. That's a nice bar. And the Hatch Pub, I have drank in that one as well. That's the one, I think, right on the canal there, just up past Hazelhatch. And I haven't eaten in Michelangelo's restaurant. And this one here, the first one, Nest Wine and Coffee. Don't think I've tried that either. Maybe that's a newer one. But lots of options close by. I think Celbridge, a lot has gone on it over the last few years. There's certainly been lots of building nearby. So I think from what I've gathered, just from a quick scan through this, now once you have the report, you can spend more time and you can go into it in more detail and click through some of the links for more information. But there seems to be lots close by, lots of amenities close by. He's not going to have any trouble with broadband or anything like that. At least he has options for a mobile phone network. There's no big risks to the property. Nothing crazy building going on nearby. The BER is decent for a property. I think this was the 90s. This one was built in, if I remember the estate agent listing. So there's nothing, and that's a pretty good BER rating for a property that age. So he's not going to have any shocks there. No planning to worry about nearby. So this, I'd be recommending to him, go view this property. Look at this property. There's really nothing bad about it. It's a good price. It's close enough to Celbridge town. I think it's like a 5-minute walk from the village. Village, I should say, not town. Is it a town? I don't know. Either way, it's a nice little town or village. So he's a close walk. He can get down there pretty quickly. It's got lots of good amenities nearby. The house looks like it's in good nick from the pictures, but obviously if he goes sale agreed, he'd get a surveyor out to inspect that a bit more. But yeah, so I'd be telling him, go view this. Celbridge isn't a bad option, especially if you're working from home and don't have to go into Dublin every day. You don't have to deal with that traffic. So yeah, I think it's worth his while going and actually viewing this and maybe a few other properties out while he's out that way, and even take a stroll up to the village, get a feel for what's there, and just explore the area. Anyway, that's just a quick example of how a home hunter report can help you get a feel for a property and an area that you might not know too well, like my friend. And if you have any questions, make sure you comment away or just email us info@homehunterreport.ie. If you do want your own home hunter report, just go to homehunterreport.ie and enter the air code, and you can have your report within a few minutes. Otherwise, I'll chat to you again.